Okay. Today we will look into preliminaries. Uh, Preliminaries. Most of us we know what is preliminaries and why it is in the project. Mm, some of us ignore to go in depth to understand the basic idea of the preliminaries in the project, and we just see it is bill 1 and it is in front of the BOQ. So you guys not go into deep, and somebody ask you what do we do with the preliminaries, why it is there in the project and how it helps. Nobody was not able to answer. If somebody asked a general idea what is preliminaries, we were not able to answer. If somebody is go and pick some item and ask us why this item in the project, we were not able to answer. So though that is what I'm planning to spend some time on this task to explain you why we need a preliminaries. Before going to that, I was last time also I was noticed that I missed one important thing. I wanted you guys to ask. Uh, I wanted you guys to ask uh, your understanding why we need why we need a standard method of measurement in a project. Because last time we see there are many standard method of measurement in the project. There are many standards. We learn about it. What is SMM7? What is Principle of Measurement International? What is CESMM3? What is CESMM4? And how NRM1 came, and what is another one we have seen here, that what is RICS code of measuring practice. This all we have learned it. We know that, and you know, and everybody knows that why this is in the industry. I mean, it is available in the industries, but I need to hear from you, someone, what is the use of it? Why, I mean, what is the advantage of having a standard method of measurement? Why, what will happen if there is no standard method of measurement? What will happen to the project? So this is uh, not directly, we in RICS, we indirectly ask the candidate a question that, okay, your client is a developer, he come up with his own idea, uh, he told you to use a different standard method of measurement or his own standard method of measurement. He asked your permission. So being a quantity surveyor, what is your advice to him? So this is one of the question in RICS panel as well. So if you are a QS, your client come and ask you, then asking you, tell me why I need to use a standard method of measurement in a project. Tell us, some of you here, why we are using a standard method of measurement. What is the purpose? Anybody can speak?
Then only we can do the accurate cost estimation.
Nazar, can you repeat that? I think you started on the half of the way. Your turn on your mic. Can you repeat again?
If there is a standard method of measurement, if we follow only, we can do it the accurate cost estimation. Accurate.
Okay, that is one of the important point. Anyone else, or any other opinion you have from your end? Okay, so this
We
is
can
here.
reduce we can reduce the errors in the measurements.
Okay, we can reduce the error in the measurement, and we can do accurately in the measurement. So we can list out, there are many there are many factors that influence why we need to use a standard method of measurement. This may come to your mind as well. When somebody is referring that in the pricing preambles we use this 1979 for me, then you might ask your mind that why I need to standard method of measurement. So you might ask this question to your mind. So here is the answer for that. I collected few points here. What they say, it is consistency and uniform. So consistency and uniform in the sense, for example, when you are going to school, when you're going to school, you were asked by the school administration to wear a one color uh, uniform. I mean, we call it uniform, one color dresses. And sometimes they ask one color, white color shoe or black color shoe, whatever it is. So it has a consistency because there is no difference between poor and rich. There is no difference between religious. There is no difference between races or whatever it is. They give a uniformity. They give a consistency. So you tender the project, you plot the tender to the market with the standard method of measurement or without a standard method of measurement. If there is a contractor who is pricing this project from UK, he will follow the standard method from UK. If a contractor from China, he will follow the standard from China. If somebody is from India, whatever he learned, he put it in this standard method. So there is no uniforms. People come with the different dresses, different colors, different standard, what they know. So you cannot control as a consultant. Once you receive this tender, then you started evaluating the tender. You cannot control that because when you come to that stage, when you are making a analyzing of a tender, for example, concrete, for example, pile cap, for example, one guy he will put 1000 cubic meter, another guy he will put 2000 cubic meter, another guy will put 1500 cubic meter. You get confused. Then you call for a meeting and ask him, oh, why, how did you measure? He will tell, I consider the slab on grade also within the, I mean, when you extend the when you, for example, you have a slab like this and your pile cap is like this, no? So somebody will, when you say pile cap, they will consider this whole part as a pile cap. Somebody will consider as a slab, and this they will consider only this part as a pile cap. So unless you give a direction to them, or unless you give a standard to them, they don't know what to measure. So they will measure as they wish. So that is what the standard method of measurement give you uniform. And another point is here that cost estimate and tendering, and Nazar is said that for estimating purposes, and which can reduce the errors and all this kind of things. So if you give a standard, for example, if you follow NRM2 for a standard method of measurement, no, I will come back. When you follow NRM1 for pre-contract cost planning, then if you go to the project to do the BOQ based on NRM2, then it is very easy for you to administrate. But you do NRM1 for the pre-contract cost planning, then you follow SMM7 for the post-contract. There is no, I mean, you will see the discrepancies between these two elemental items in the standard method of measurements. So that is what they said. You have to use one standard for pre-contract, post-contract, and contractual purposes. Contractual purposes in the sense when there is a variation, as I explained you in the previous session, when there is a variation, if you don't have a standard method of measurement, the contractor come back and say, I measured based on my measurement standard in India. Then you are working in UAE, you have a different standard. If a contractor said my price is based on this standard, you cannot do anything. You have to pay for it because as an engineer, you have to be fair and reasonable. So if he put that judgment, he is right. You cannot ask him that, no, I will not pay for you. So that is what uh, contractual purposes. And quality control and verifications. Of course, that if you have some benchmarking, only you can verify that. Because when last time I said that you are doing a analysis of the BOQ, if you don't have any benchmark, from where you will verify, from where you will check it whether this guy is right or wrong. If you follow SMM7 or if you follow NRM2 only, okay, you will benchmark it. Okay, this proposal is according to the benchmark. This much is deviating from benchmark. So this is for quality control and verification purposes. Another one is a benchmarking, as I mentioned, and dispute resolutions. As I mentioned earlier, that if you did not specify it, this is a standard method of measurement. As I said, there will be many dispute. Indian contractor will say I measured Indian, UK people will say I measured according to UK. So there will be a dispute will come. So you have to specify that this is the purpose we need a standard method of measurement. You cannot deny that. If a client come and say, okay, as a client is a clever client and he have an experience, he is a PhD holder in the quantification and costing. He himself, for last 5 years, he made his own standard method of measurement. Okay, then he want to build his own house. He come and say that I'm going to give you my standard method of measurement, which I made it myself last 5 years. Please put it in my project. What you will tell him? He's a client. You cannot say no, but you have to explain him in a manner that, Mr. Client, this standard method of measurement, you only know. You and maybe people help you, few people around you, they know that. And now you are telling me you have given to me, I know that. Now, if I give this to the contractor and ask him to price this project in within a 2 weeks time, he cannot do that. Because first of all, if it is a new standard, he need to go through it. He need at least 2-3 month time to read every clauses one by one, word by word. Then you want to price it. But if you give him a standard method of measurement, if you tell him that I worked according to the POMI or if I worked according to the NRM, what he will do, he know that the estimator on the company, he know that, okay, it is POMI. So he will look for the changes item only. He will tell his assistant, the estimator will tell his assistant, look for a changes on this standard, how it is deviating from the standard. Pick that point, only we will focus on that point. So that's how that standard method of measurement is works. So moving to preliminaries now. Now we need to understand, we need to know why preliminaries, why a preliminaries is required for a project. Somebody is, even my own experience, people have lots of experience in the industry. They ask me, for example, I tendered the project and the project came, let's say 100 million. Within that 100 million, contractor put price for the preliminary, let's say 10 million or 8 million. So, some of the people, experienced people from client, or sadly, they come and say, why this preliminary is we needed? We don't need this 8 million. Why they price 8 million? This is unnecessary cost. Why they put here? We can reduce the item. Don't put too much item in the preliminaries, reduce it. This is my own experience. I mean, I came across with the people. But what we do as a QS, we follow the standard given by the SMM7, NRM2, or POMI. There are standards. Those people who prepare the standard, they worked hard year and year, day and night, to come up this standard and introduce to the industries. They did so many case studies and evaluation analysis. Finally, they said they might get 100 items, they might get thousands items. Finally, they end up with 25 items. They did so many brainstorming and they come up with this. Now you people come and say, no, reduce this item, we don't need this item, we don't need this item. Somebody is asked, why these preliminaries? Oh, this you have to understand why these preliminaries. If somebody is asked you in question in the industries, you have to answer to them. So now I'm just putting this question here in the audience. I just need to understand from you guys why we need a preliminaries in the project. What is the use of these preliminaries and what they are doing here? Can you explain somebody here? What is why we need a preliminaries? Anybody there to explain why we need a preliminaries? Or nobody know what is preliminaries? As
From my understanding, it will help a supporter to complete the project from the starting to ending.
yeah, most of the BOQ items are there to help to complete the project. My concern is here, in particular point of view, why Nazar is your try is good actually, but specifically why preliminaries? I mean, okay, when no need a preliminary, site work is there, concrete work is there, and these all there. Why we need a preliminary? If somebody asks you this question, how will you specifically answer to this?
This is not in the contract, no, like general requirement, like not in the BOQ, not in the drawings, not in the section. This is the general requirement to help to complete the work, the specific work on in the BOQ.
Okay, that's well tried. But there are specific terms used to define these preliminaries. Anybody know that what's that specific term? But there are accurately we specify why preliminaries. Because by the way, I want to highlight you that somebody now here, this is from POMI. I just shared with you the POMI. Here is mentioned about the general requirements. So don't panic that if you go to NRM2 or SMM7, this is specified as a preliminaries. And if you go to SMM3 or 4 is general items. So don't get confused with that. These all are same, but standard to standard they are vary. I mean, I don't know the reason behind that. I didn't do any research on that, but this is how I identified uh, preliminaries. But now, anybody want to try? Anybody want to try to define that why the preliminaries is there and what is the use of these preliminaries? What they are doing in the project? If no preliminaries in the project, what will happen? Can anybody tell us? Okay, let me tell you. In a terminology that we use to explain that preliminary is temporary work. Preliminary is called as a temporary work. So what does it mean, temporary works? If you take a construction project, let's say a construction of a 25-story residential house, there are two different works. One is a temporary work, other one is a permanent work. So temporary works, which means after your construction is completed, that items, whatever is listed here, they are no more on the site. You take away them from the site, or that doesn't use for the operation of the building. That will not be part of it. Permanent mean the one you build it, that is available on the site. Even after you complete the project, they are on the site. You come out from the site, you build the project, you hand over the project. As a contractor or the consultant, you come out from the site, come out from the boundary of the building. It is available on the site. That is a permanent structure. That is a permanent work. So preliminary is the temporary work that help to build the permanent works. So preliminary is the temporary work which help you to build the permanent works. For example, I will come to these points later. For example, one item here, A5, in pricing, in the principle of measurement, under the section A, I will tell you what is section A and section B. Under the section A, which says construction plan here. So construction plan, for example, you bring a tower crane to the site, which to lift your reinforcement bar or lift your materials from ground floor or from one place to another place for movement purposes. So what you do after end of the project, you take away this crane and go out. So that crane is a temporary works, temporary item that help you to build the permanent works. So in principle, you have to keep in your mind what is preliminary is the items that are comes under this is to help to build the project, build the permanent works. End of the project, this is gone away from there. These items what you use in the preliminaries will go away from the site locations. It will go to another site, or this will destroy. This will went for the salvage. So those are the items comes under preliminaries. For example, if you are a clever guy, there are some items listed under the principle of measurement for me, or NRM2 or SMM7. But you came across one item which is not listed here, Somebody come and ask you, a client or your boss come and ask you, Mr. QS, I wanted to put this item in the BOQ, I don't know where to put. So if he asks your opinion on this, so as a QS, as a clever QS, you have to differentiate first. Okay, this is whether this is temporary item or permanent item. Whether after building this project, this item is going to be in the site or this item is going to be taken away from the site. So you have to think about it. You have to do that kind of evaluation, and you decided finally this is the temporary items or this is the permanent item. Accordingly, you can judge to your senior. So hope you all understand why the preliminaries is there. But there is a big question. Even there is a preliminaries and people understood what is the preliminaries, and people still ask the question, why we need this item, why we need that item, why we cannot omit this item. So you have to be very clever to answer those people that we need this item for these purposes. Okay. Now, let me tell you what is this section A. According to for me, principle of measurement. I mean, don't think that I'm just I'm explaining you based on for me, because I can say I'm master in for me, and NRM I'm just a beginner like you all people. So my concern is, if you know how to read one standard method of measurement, you will be a king in reading another standard method of measurement. So I'm not encouraging you to go and study all the standard method of measurement, SMM7, SMM, whatever it is. You be a master on reading, how to read and understand one standard. then you can read it on the time, then you can read it everything. So be master on one, whether it is POMI or NRM or whatever it is. So now I'm just explaining you POMI, because still POMI is influencing in the market somehow. So in POMI, actually, what they say that preliminaries is under section A. So let me go to this index, then you will understand it clearly. So what they say is GP is not part of the BOQ. It's not coming. It's a general principle. The section A is a general requirement, which we called it as a preliminaries. Section B is a site work. So it's somehow it is on the sequence of the work actually. So when you go to the site, what you do first, you do a temporary works. Without doing a temporary works, you cannot start the permanent works. Without doing a fence, without making an office, without having a temporary water, electricity, you cannot go and do excavation. You cannot go and do a concreting works. So all this for me is they somehow they put it in the sequence. So first they said section A is a general requirement. So first you have to go and for all the general requirements, you have to do it. Then what you do, site works, site explanatory, which is we have to do like a site investigation, geophysical investigation, topographics, and all these things you will do first, no, before you start the project or before you do excavation. So that then the site works, then do and under the site works only the site what do you call this, the geophysical and topographics and site preparation, demolition, shorings, excavations, and temporary pilings, and all so many things is coming. After that, what you're going to do, you will do a concrete works. After you do a concrete works, you're going to do a masonry works, which is a block or brick or whatever it is. Then metal works, then it goes to wood works, but you do like joinery works, like then because when you finish the masonry, then you have to do a subframe for the doors and subframe for the wardrobes, something like that. So after that, for me, and this was a big confusion with the people who don't follow the standard method of measurement. I've seen in my experience many people, they put this thermal and moisture, which is we call it waterproofing. Waterproofing for the foundation, some of the BOQ you will see it's coming under the concrete. People who don't follow the standard, who never hear about the standard, what they do, they put the waterproofing for the foundation under the concrete. Then they come back here, they put only the waterproofing for the wet area and the roof. So that is depend on the guy who prepare the BOQ. Then doors and windows, finishes, accessories, which is like sanitary wares and signage and so many things, and equipments, furnitures, special constructions, if anything like prefabricated things, and this is conveying like elevator or garbage chute or whatever it is. Then mechanical, electrical. This is the end of section. Section R is end of section of for me. Very interestingly, nobody noticed that you will see the order here, no? For example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, then you have J here. Somebody can ask question why there is no H, I, J. There is no I. There is no I in between H and J. Also, you come J, K, L, M, N, L, M, N is there. There is no O and P. O is not there, but there is P here. So O is missing and I is missing. I wanted to know any clever people here to tell me why there is no I and O here. Anybody there to tell me that why there is I and O? If you look at it carefully, if you are familiar with POMI, you might do this analysis. or even in your day-to-day life, even me, I'm in my day-to-day life, when I'm putting the serial numbers and serials in under alphabet, I don't use I and O. Why? Anybody can speak, rather you chat in the chat box, because people, others can
It's
understand.
like a number, I and
Yeah,
O.
yeah. When you put I, it's depend on the font what you're using it. If you put I, sometime it's coming like this. People will consider as a 1. If you put O, it always is a 0. People will think it is a 0. But it depend on the font what you are using it. But to avoid this confusion, for me, is avoid this I and O under the series. Because when we are preparing the BOQ, the item on the side, on your left side, is coming A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Then when you put I, O, people will think, okay, it is 0. Then it will confuse, or it will make so many dispute between the people. So that is what they avoid, that I, O here. Okay, coming back to our topic is general requirements. Then that, as per the POMI, what they said under the general requirement, from A1 to A9, they listed the items. So A1, they said condition of contract. Somebody will ask, even my mind, when the beginning, when I see this, I ask, what is condition of contract? Why condition of contract under the preliminaries? Same they said is specifications. Same question to me. Why specification under the preliminaries? Okay, restriction I can digest. I can understand why restriction. Okay, people coming from outside, some vehicle coming from outside to the site. So you have to put some certain restriction in general ideas. You can get that. Contract administration and arrangements, construction plan, employer facilities, contractor facilities, temporary works, and sundries. So these all items, by seeing it, you will feel it doesn't require to the project, because I'm going to build a 25-story residential tower. Then why I need all these items, these temporary works and restrictions and specification? Why somebody's feel it in that way? Why I need to price for it? Why I need to waste the money for that? So we will go in detail. We will see one preliminary Excel file. Then we will have some ideas. So hope I remove the details of that. Okay. Now, first what we have seen in the POMI. First we have seen it in the POMI. Let me open POMI. Okay. In POMI, the first item. Hello. Give me a second. Okay. In POMI, there is an item condition of contract. You remember that we see in the POMI standard, because this BOQ is prepared according to the POMI standard. So they say that the POMI, the first item is condition of contract. That is how you can see here the condition of contract in the beginning. Second is a specification. This is the specification. This is here. The third is, when you come to the third, is a restriction is here. Then after the restriction, and another one is here, contractors administrative management. And The other item is the employer facilities. After the employer facilities is a contractor facilities here. After the contractor facilities, another item called is temporary works. Temporary works is here. And sundries. Sundries is started from here. Okay. Now we'll see not in detail. We will see it in general view. I have very interesting question to all to ask you. I just saw one item. I'll tell you the story behind that here. There is one item under the preliminaries is called dewatering. Okay, can somebody tell me whether the dewatering is a permanent or temporary? It's not the matter of QS, it is a matter of technology or construction technology. Tell me that the dewatering is a temporary item or permanent item. Anybody?
It's temporary item. Until the uplift first, we are doing the dewatering.
Okay, it is a temporary item. But if you see some BOQs, they put this item is under the site work. So you might ask a question to your mind, it is a temporary item because once the project is finished, you are no more doing a dewatering. You are taking your dewatering pump and dewatering system away from the site. So it is a temporary. It's confirmed it is a temporary. And then under this BOQ also, it is under temporary. But you might came across your experience. You might see some BOQ. It would be there on under the site works. Site works is a permanent works. So I mean, I told you before there are two sections. One is temporary, and other one is a permanent. Under the BOQ is section A is coming to the temporary. From section B to R is a permanent. So you have to be mindful that when you see section B to R is a permanent work according to the POMI. So section A is a temporary. So just for your cross verification, I just mention it. Okay, now coming back here, first whenever you receive a BOQ as an estimator, but sadly, and I've seen many estimators who have an experience more than 20-25 years experience. Whenever I mention in the BOQ this kind of clauses, they used to tell me that here they will put me here is not applicable. This item is not applicable, and they said, oh, it's not applicable. They said, I don't need to do this for this project. Why I need to price the condition of contract in the preliminary? Majority of them, unless somebody know what is the standard method of measurement, majority of them, they put this is not applicable. Let me tell you. Now, you have a scope of work in the project. The scope of work is defined in the drawings. Scope of work is defined in the bill of quantities. That has to be listed under the bill of quantities to allow the contractor to price fully, comprehensively for the project. So you have something in the drawing. So that drawing is measured by the quantity surveyor and put it in the, it's mentioned in the BOQ. It has been carried out to the BOQ and priced it. I mean, it's already quantified. For example, what you will find it in the drawing, you will find the excavation, you will find it. You will find the concrete work, you will find. You will find the doors and windows, finishes and MEP, everything you will find. But you will not find something about the performance bond, something about advance payment guarantee, something about professional indemnity insurance that is required for the project, but you will not find in the BOQ. Sorry, you will not find in the drawings. So how will you price that? How are you going to price it? Because as an estimator and a contracting company, let's say you are a owner of the company, you want to construct a villa. Then you get the drawing, you get the specification, you get the BOQ. And the BOQ doesn't have the preliminaries. Then what you do, you give it to your estimator. The estimator is quantified everything. He said perfectly the quantity is matching with our drawing. So let's price it. You price it, you get 5 million for the villa. But client says, I need your performance bond. I need in the advance payment guarantee from you. I need whatever you design. I need you from the professional indemnity insurance. You tell the client, Mr. Client, I don't have a BOQ item to price this. How can I price it? I give you 5 million just for a construction. I didn't price for insurance. I didn't price for something like that. So that is how the preliminaries is specified. This condition of contract, what does it mean? Something mentioned on the drawings is available in the BOQ measured items, which is about the site work, concrete works. Something not mentioned in the drawings, not mentioned in the specification, but mentioned in the contract, I could not price in the BOQ. So those items you have to list it here. Not only the performance security, not only the contractor's insurance and equipment, not only the workman compensation, not only the program of works. There are many items. There are much more items you will find it. That is not, you are not able to price it in the BOQ. That is, you are not able to price it under the measured item. So that you have to list it here. You get this BOQ. You as an estimator, you gone through this BOQ. You found that this 4-5 item, okay, this 4 item is listed under this BOQ. You started to pricing it, but you found one place the contractor is the contract condition is mentioned. Let's say that you're going to build a project is on the government space. Let's say you're going to build a project on a government premises. But according to the law, the government rules, it says that according to the government rules, you cannot work for more than, for example, for more than 7 hours in a day, for more than 5 hours in a day. So you have to work only 5 hours out of 10 hours. So that is mentioned in one of your contract conditions. It mentioned that the contractors are not permitted to work beyond 5 hours per day. So what you do, you have a labor. The labor you are paying monthly salary. He's supposed to work for 10 hours. But in this project, whoever is working, they will work for 5 hours. So what you're going to do that? You get the money for 5 hours from the client, but balance 5 hours, it's you have to pay from your own pocket. So what you have to do, you have to bring that item here, like somebody is mentioned here, see, under the contract clause, they say that according to this clause, you have to mention it, according to this clause, so and so, I have a cost of 1 million because I'm paying my guys another 5 hours, which you are not paying, which you are not allowed to work on that, but I'm paying for his salary. So you have to carry it out here. Okay, that is one point. Another point, this will not, the item what I mentioned here, that 5 hours, 10 hours issues will not mention on the drawings, no? So you cannot measure it. Those things you have to price it under the condition of contract. Another example I'm telling, The client says your laborers to be stationed near to the site within 2 kilometer distance. For example, if a work, let's say the work is on a desert place, which is far from the city, then laborers cannot come and go every day. It is in a sustainable perspective, it is the cost of fuel, environmental impact, plus time wastage, and so many factors is there. So the client says, okay, you build a accommodation for your laborers here. That is mentioned on your contract. That is mentioned on your contract. The contractors, workers are not allowed to travel more than 2 kilometers from the site permission. So that you have to bring that clause here. You have to tell according to clause number so and so, I build a labor accommodation here. Otherwise, you are paying for your labor accommodation for your people. Already it's in their contract. Already you are paying for it. Additionally, you cost for this labor accommodation which made on the desert. Plus, you have a maintenance cost for it. So that you have to carry it out here. So hope you guys understood what I explaining it. Whatever it is not in the drawings, whatever is not in the specification, but it's mentioned in the condition of contract, which cost you, that you have to list out here and price it. So you will understand now how important this preliminary is, then how important as a quantity surveys, you have to go through each and every condition of contract of the project during the estimation. As an estimators, why and a contracts guy, the contractual person or the contract person need to involve in an estimation. Why a commercial manager need to during an estimation of the project? Because of this, he should be a master in reading and understanding of a contract, and to understand what are the risks allocated in this contract, that has to be quoted and priced in the project. Otherwise, you will be loose. Normally, nobody will tell you that you have to work in the site for 5 hours. Some abnormal case, some abnormal client, or not, I cannot say abnormal, some special client, they will tell you 5 hours. By mistakenly, you did not read that clause. Then you price the project as normal. My labor will work for 10 hours. Then you start the work. Now the client says, no, you have to work 5 hours. The problem is now you're going to get extend the project. Then also that you are paying for your labor for full day, that but you get paid for only 5 hours, is a huge loss for you. So that is what a contract guy, the commercial manager, to be in place in the pre-contract as well, to advise the estimator or the advise the management. These are the risks that has to be considered during the estimation of the project. That is how the quantity surveys get paid well, because it is a very risky job. It is a very risky job. It has so many responsibilities. They will make the company in trouble, or they can make a company in profitability. So as a quantity surveys, you have to be more careful about these kind of things. So now condition of contract, what does it mean? Whatever it is, item is not mentioned in the BOQ, not mentioned in the drawings, not mentioned in the specification, but listed in the condition of contract, where you are not able to price it, you will bring it here and price it. I give you 2 examples. Hope you guys get understood about it. Okay, coming back to the next item is similar to the condition of contract. The item is not mentioned on the BOQ. Sorry, item is not mentioned on the drawings. Item is not mentioned in the condition of contract, but shown in the specification. Shown in the specification. So that item, you are not able to price it under the BOQ. That is, item is not, there is no item relevant in the BOQ to price that risk. That risk you will list it out here, because you see that it is here given a place for you to list out what is the clause number in the specification, what is the item in the specification, or what is the heading. Then you will price it here. They give a space. They told you that you give a lump sum amount of, let's say, 1 million here. You will do a different exercise in a different place. Item 1, item 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. You will do your estimation, and you get finally 1 million. You put here that 1 million. You list out those items here. These are the clauses in the specification. I am having a risk on it. I was not able to price it in the BOQ. I am pricing it here. You have to specify that. So guys, but then as a QS or an estimator, nobody, I mean, majority of them, even the senior guys, I've met them in my life, they first, somebody don't understand what are the standard of specification is available in the market, what numbers they follow it, what numbers is specify what. Nobody knows these things. Few of them only. I mean, most of the time, even I interviewed a small junior guy, I would ask him that, what is a specification? What is the purpose of the specification? What if a specification is not there in the project? You can ask me that question, why it is needed for the quantity surveys. No, it is very important to the quantity surveys. More than a BOQ, I would respect if somebody knows about the specification, they are the master in Q, as I could say that. Because mostly in UAE, I'm not talking about the in Saudi Arabia or Qatar. I don't know what standard they follow it. In UAE, they follow the standard of CSI standard. You can Google it and check. There is the standard method called Construction Specification Institution. So Construction Standard Institution or Specification Institution, something like that. Somebody is drawing it. I don't know who is that. Okay. This is so. Don't sleep while listening the class. Then it will happen. Without knowing your knowledge, then you will draw something else. So CSI standard, which is available, this is from USA standard. You go there, it is very interesting part to understand, because you guys must know about this, because you will have a question here, what is clause number, what is heading number. Let me tell you, maybe for example, in a BOQ or standard method of measurement, we have ABC specifying for one in each section, no? ABC, for example, A preliminary, B site work, C concrete works. In CSI also they have a standard. If you go number 1, they have a 6-digit number. They started like this, 6-digit number. You will see 2 digit together, then there is a space and 2 digit, and there is a space and 2 digit. So this is the latest standard. After 2016, it's available in the market. But if you go 2012 or 2014, I'm not sure, that will have continuous number. That will have continuous number. For example, they have a 5-digit number. Yeah, they have 5-digit number, continuous number. That I will not confuse you. That I will talk about the available, the latest standard. If they started with the 1, the number is started with the 1. This will talk about the general requirement. General requirement means preliminaries. Preliminaries. How you want to price the preliminaries? There is a specification for that. I mean, maybe you guys not know about that. There is a specification in the standard specification method to price the preliminaries. They will tell you, for example, let's say the site office, engineer site office. In that specification is mentioned what is the dimension of engineer site office, what you have to provide for the engineers, and what is the standard. What, for example, you can go for PVC flooring of site office, epoxy flooring of site office, 2-floor site office, single floor site office. These all will specify under this. Actually, that is started with 00. 00 standard is it's about the project particulars. That will talk about the project specific. Then they come, number 1 is for preliminaries. They go 20, started with 2. That 2 is talk about the site works. It's about the site. It's about site investigation, topographics, and so many things. Okay. Then they have number 3 is about concrete. Number 3 is for concrete. Number 4 is for masonry. Number 5 is for metal. Number 6 for wood. Number 7 for waterproofing. Number 8 for doors and windows. Number 9 for finishes. So number 9 means they start with the 9. 900, whatever it is. For example, they have 9, for example, they have 900, 00 is for paint finishing. So something like that. So what they ask here to do, you have to list out that close number here, 900 is, and then talk it is a paint. Then the guy who is analyzing the tender, he will understand, okay, there is a special requirement for the paint, which the contractor was not able to price on the bill of quantity for paint item, he priced it here. So that is how you have to consider these all issues. Let me erase this. So hope you understand that what specification. I mean, let me think about this. Let me think about example. For example, you have excavation works. You have excavation. No, you have a painting. Okay, you have a painting, but the painting is mentioned that you in your bill of quantities, what you do, you measure the area of paint that is required to price the project. You measure the area. You come to the BOQ description. The BOQ description is mentioned. Contractor to supply and install, supply and apply the paint, first coat, second coat, and the final coat, including scaffolding and all these requirements. So what you do normally, you come and price it for that. You come and price it for that paint. For example, you put 25 dirham per square meter of paint, external paint. But you go back to your specification, you read the clause in the specification. That clause is mentioned. You cannot do the second coat within 7 days after you do the first coat. Maybe that using a special materials. Okay, so that is a special requirement. That is a special requirement, and it is unique. You never seen in your previous project. So normally that item, what you can do, you can consider while building up your unit rate for the paint, you can put a provision for that, because there is a delay, there is a project delay. You have to allocate it in the program. The people will idle, who is painting it, they will idle for 7 days. So that provision you can put it in the paint rate itself, or you can come back and list it here. Mr. Client, you had a requirement under the clause number 9000000. This is the heading of that specification. Is mentioned that I have to wait for the second quote for another 7 days. So that is a cost for me. That is abnormal requirement you are asking me. So that you will price it here. Even you can price it under the rate of the paint. The problem is, if you price it, let's say your rate comes 50 dirham, for example. But when the engineer taking your BOQ and he's doing a tender evaluation, he found that somebody priced it 20, another guy priced it 20, other guy priced it 21, you price it 50. The evaluator, the tender analyzing person from the tender board, he will tell your rate is high. He never know that that is a special requirement, because I mean usually it not happens. They don't go and check what is the specification. They will tell this contractor we will not appoint him because his rate is high for this work. He don't know how to price the tender. So simply that you will lose the tender. So for that reasons, I mean I'm taking one example. There are many items in that manner. So for that items, you will price it as a special case here. So that's how the specification is take place on the preliminaries. Okay. Don't ask me that it is a temporary, but it is somehow is part of the work. You have to price it, but you are not able to price under the BOQ, then you will carry it out here. But of course, that performance security, insurance, workman compensation, and all these all are the temporary works. But what are the temporary works required for the project to complete the permanent works? That was not mentioned in the BOQ or specification or drawing or wherever it is. You have to bring it out here and price it. That is how this has to be considered. Then moving to restriction. Restriction is another important item in the bill of quantities. In the preliminaries, it is a temporary works. Yes, restriction is a temporary, because this kind of a problem, this kind of a challenge you face during a construction only. Okay, you see that here access to the site may be obtained prior to arrangement with the engineer as is specified shown on the drawings. For example, it will not show on the drawings, but this is wrong, I think. For example, you are doing a very confidential project with a confidential client. The client in Abu Dhabi, in here, most of the project what I have deal in, normally nobody can enter very easily. There is a special permissions. You have to submit your proof documents, then somebody will review your documents and they'll give you a permission. That normally is not happen to other projects. Other project you just go and do the work. So those excess problems, you cannot price it under the site. I mean, you cannot price it under the concrete works. You cannot price it under the site works. Of course, you can price it. For example, concrete truck, when you are pricing it, you can load the rate, but that is not a permanent works, no? That is a temporary work. After finish the project, you don't need this with the excess problem. So that items you have to carry it out here. And the next item is the site shall not use for any other purpose other than the execution of the contract. So this is, you would say that, okay, I understand. Site I will not use for other than any other purposes. Then why I should price for it? This question, somebody asked me this during my experience. So that is what I just wanted you guys to, I wanted to convey this message to you guys. It is a cost. It is a cost because you have very limited site. For example, you got a plot is, let's say 20 meter, 20 meter, 100 meter. Then you got your building footprint is also is 18 meter and 98 meter. So you have 1 meter here, 1 meter here, 1 meter here, 1 meter here. Then you cannot use this site. You cannot store the material in the site. You cannot make your site office in the site. You cannot use any labor rest area, because according to the UAE health and safety regulations, because of the summer, the contractor need to provide the rest area for his labor during the hot summer period. I mean, peak hot period. So you should have a rest room for the labor and their facilities. For example, toilet, washroom, and all these facilities. You cannot build it here. So the site shall not be used for any purposes other than the execution of the contract. So other than the execution of the contract, so okay, sorry, this item is required for the execution of a contract. But other than the execution of a contract, for example, something related to the site but not related to this project. Let's say you have a two site here. You have a two sites nearby that. You have one site have a store, other side you don't need to put a store. But what you do, you use this site store for this purpose. So this contractor also say, this client also say, don't use my site for other site. So what you have to do, you have to hire a store separately, rental for the separate store, and you have to keep those materials for related to this project. So that purpose you have to rent it, you have to price for it, you have to charge for it from the client for that purposes. So that is how this item is required for you. You have to put some provision to avoid that risk for this project. And access for plan also is an important thing. Whenever you're bringing the material to the site, or when you're bringing the excess, the equipments, the plan to the site, there are some pre-arrangement is required. Because let's say you're bringing a crane, this crane is required huge space, and crane is required special traffic arrangement. So that costs to you. You need a special permission. So those kind of things, you have to bring it under this item. And here you see that limitation of working space, as I mentioned earlier example, that is a limitation of a working space. And existing services, there might be existing services on the existing ground, so you have to relocate it. So you have to remove it, or you have to reroute it. So that cost, sorry, also going to be bring under this restriction items. So another item is contractors administrative. So contractors administrative, it's have categorized as site administration and supervision, security arrangement, health and safety, transportation for the working people, environment, small plants and tools. Okay, then cranes and lifting, plants, and this should come under the plant and equipment. Anyway, it's some of the small plant and tools. But let me explain you what is contractors administration. When you start the project, let's say the huge project, you will make a site office there. Then you have a HR and you have an administration guy or the document controller head, and you have a PRO. Everybody is on the site. Sorry, everybody is in the head office. But still, you have 50 people working on the site. Every day, they cannot. That people, the labor, I mean, the laborers or the engineers, they cannot go to head office to ask for the facilities, or they ask for a passport, ask for a leave, or ask for any other things related to HR and administration things. So that is what the contractor's head office, they will send the assistant. So they will station some people on the site office itself to administrate that site. So they will put HR, so they will put the administrator on the site office to administrate this project solely for this project, the pure purpose of using for this project. So those people you cannot pay from the head office. Those people salaries should be paid from the site office only, site salary only, means site overhead only. So that you have to list out here, site administration and supervision. Let me come back to you for the supervision. I'll tell you that first administration, as I mentioned, and the security I mentioned, that site security, you have to put the security on the main entrance. You have to put the security on the exit. You have to put the security on your store. Sometime once you complete the finishing work, you have to put the security on the finished item as well. Let me tell you one interesting example. Once we were doing one project in Dubai, we have the MEP contractors installed very huge expensive cables, copper cables. to the power supply cables. But one day, there were 3 days, the contractors used to complain to the main contractor, the subcontractor, MEP contractor used to complain to the main contractor. We were losing, there were some cables is removed from the panel or is removed from the site. We don't understand. Then all of a sudden, one day morning, they found that somebody is somebody is taking the cable away from the site and they are selling it. Some kind of thief things happening there. So now you understand the importance of the security. Now somebody will question it that why we need a security and it is a very safe place. No, it is a safe place, but still you have to protect your site for the security. An interesting case, I mean, when we were working with a huge client, I was a contractor on the security post of the site. We were not able to take any materials. For example, you cannot take even a small plywood from the site to the home or to the room. Everything you have to record it on the security board, on the security desk. So then, because why? The contractors is paid by the material on site. Okay. For example, 20 square meter of marble they brought to the site. The client, they went to the store of the contractors, they inspect based on the delivery note and everything, and they said, okay, we are paying for you this 20 square meter of marble. Then after he start paying on the payment for the material on site, the contractor can do, they can take that 10 square meter and they can bring it to other site and install it. So that is what the client is insist the contractors to put the security there. It should be an impartial person. Sometimes you see the security is not from contractors. They will ask from a security company. That guy will be impartial. He will not support the contractors. He will not support the client. He will be balanced. He will be a neutral guy. He will work for everybody. He will support everybody. He will carefully look at the site. So that is what security is important. And health and safety, I don't need to tell you that what is the importance of health and safety and transportations, vermins. So as I mentioned that this all was not part of the head office expenses. This is they are putting as an assistant in the site. The contractors should have to claim this from the client as part of the project cost. And here is one important item is supervision. This supervision, it's very vast task. I mean, very vast topic. That this supervision and administration, what supervision is has to price here, what supervision has not to price here. This is very wise topic that we have to include that as well. But let me explain you first this preliminaries. If you have a time, we will talk about that today. Otherwise, you just remember that this is the supervision guy who is supervising the site in the labors, who is supervising the site, the labors. Those are the people has to be priced here. So that's about the contractors administration. Then coming back to the employer facilities. Okay, when the contractors is starting the site, when the contractors is start the site, he has to make two facilities. One facility is for the employer, one facility is for the contractor. Let me tell you in your language, contractors need to make a site office and relevant facilities to the contractors for his staff, like people, engineers, HR and administration and everybody. Also, he need to make office to the engineer and the employer. For that, expenses of this engineers and employer will not come under the concrete works, will not come under the excavation, will not come under the MEP works. So that has to be priced under the preliminaries. So that is how they price it here. Provide and erect, furnish, maintain, and remove after the issuance of the assembly completion certificate. So they have to provide officers to the engineers. Engineers mean the employees mean engineers also will come there. which he is an employer representative, so he will come under this office. First, they have to establish the office. Let's say that your cost of establishment is 200,000. Then they have to maintain the office, because if there is a rain and the hot summer, then you need to do a maintenance of the office. You need to change the roof and you need to change the wall panel. There will be AC maintenance required. They need a painting in between, and there is a trees and there is a plant. They have to pour the waters. Then this kind of the maintenance, also water, electricity, and this all maintenance will come under here. Then after completing the project, you remove the site office. Then the cost of the removal also has to be priced. So client is paying for everything, for his office and for your office. He is paying for your establishment, maintenance, and removal. He is paying another preliminary.
With chamber.
Then you have a telephone facilities you have to provide to the engineer, which is a telephone and fax mails. Then you have a stationaries that you have to provide, the pencil, papers, and those stuffs you have to provide to the engineers' employers. That has to be priced here. And surveys equipments. Let's say that the engineers have the employer need to go to the site and check your surveys measurement, or check your surveys scale, that you have to provide him a survey machine. Engineer or the employer will not need to buy a survey machine. He will ask you that time to time, I need this survey machine, then you have to provide him. So that cost of that survey machine, where you have to climb it, that is here. And special requirement program progress, this some stuff like here you see photographs, like the employer will tell, I need a camera, I need a printer. Then so many things, it has to be priced under this facility. Engineer will ask cost control reports and notice boards, and he will ask you site meetings time to time, site meeting cost. That meeting, you have to arrange the meeting, you have to spare the time and come to the meeting, you have to provide additional waters and tea and coffees and all these things. So these all has to be priced under here. And what there is another item where this is an important term that used as a keywords called attendance. Attendance in the sense, the employers and engineers will be on the site. The contractors need to provide the attendance, somebody to help to the people, like a office boy, or like a document controller, or like a wallet car parking service providers, like a car washer to the employers. So these all people has to be provided by the contractor to the employer, the engineer, is called as an attendance. This attendance they have to provide throughout the construction duration. That has to be priced also here under the employer facilities. And the climatic conditions and numbers of hours and paid days. And coming back to the contractor's facilities, similar to the contractor's engineer's office and all these computers and stuffs, contractors also, he need to build his own team staff for this facility for him. Like facilities in the sense, site office, toilets and facilities, stationaries, and whatever is attendance, all these things will be priced here. It is not a permanent work. After completing the project, it will go away from the project, so that you cannot price it under concrete. Somebody can ask a question, that this site officers and all these things, I can load into the concrete rate, I can load in the block work rate. No, you cannot. That is not a permanent work. This is not a permanent work, it's a temporary work. So you have to load into this preliminary. That is what we have a separate item in the BOQ as a preliminary. So then contractors facilities, then we have temporary roads, including hard and standing and crossings. Contractors, temporary telephone for the contractors, and this is an important things, water for the works, because your permanent works, you have a permanent works, and you have a concrete, and you have a curing, and you have a water for the drinking, and water for the mixing, water for curing. This all water you have to provide, you have to bring it by tanker and fill it in the tanker. So if you read it, this you will understand. Provide water required for the work, and provide and remove completion all request temporary pipe, pumps, storage tank, Contractor will not be permitted to use the borehole water within the site, must include here for obtaining water independent source. But it's mentioned that you cannot dig a well on the site, or you cannot do a borehole on the site or boring on the site. You have to bring a tank and you have to bring a pump. Then you bring a water from any source. You do a permanent water network connection, or you bring it by tanker. You need to provide the water to the site. Whatever the cost related to this, you have to price it here. Either it can be you bring it by tank and keep a storage in the tank and bring it by tanker and fill it and every day, or you take a permanent connection from the existing authority network and you give it to us. It's up to you, but we need a water. Similarly, the power and lighting, the power supply to the work, you bring a transformer, or you hire a transformer, or you bring a permanent connection to the site. It's up to you, but I need a power. You have to price it here. It is a temporary. After completing the project, this power, the generator will go away from the site. Or you took a permanent connection. That permanent connection, sorry, you took a temporary connection of water, electricity. That temporary connection that will convert into the permanent connection. That is a different procedure. If you go to authority, they have a different approval. So they have a different procedure for this application. First, during a project, you will apply for a temporary connection. Then after end of the project, you will convert this temporary connection into the permanent connection. So that is a different procedures it will happen. Then working with other contractors, this is the case that you have a nominated contract, you have a domestic contractors that you will provide your office to your domestic contractor. I think I mentioned it last time. What is domestic? Sorry. What is domestic contractors? What is nominated contractors? What is name contractors? No. For example, the domestic contractor, the contractor, the subcontractor who brought by the main contractor, is under his knowledge. I mean, under his wish. The main contractor, as per his wish, he called somebody to do the work. No, client didn't tell him that. Client didn't list him anywhere. So he go to the people who do excavation work, who do concrete works. He appointed. He's a domestic contractor. Another contractor called is named contractor. Named contractor means on your vendor list, client will tell you woodwork or the joinery work to be done by this X company. Aluminium fabrication to be done by this Y company. MEP work to be done by the Z company. So this is if they mention on your vendor list or on your specification or any of your part of the contract, this is called named contractors. This is named contractors. Let me tell you then after explaining this. Another one is a nominated contractor. Nominated contractors also is sometimes they will listed under the nomination name, nomination heading. They will tell this XYZ are nominated for this particular work. Named and nomination are almost the same, but some case I have an experience. I specified two different cases because under the name you will give a three different names. For example, for MEP, I need a company A, O, B, O, C. Out of these three, you can bring anybody. But under the nomination, I will tell only one company. I need this guy. No other competitors for him in the market. Nobody can beat his quality in the market. Nobody can reach his price in the market. I nominate this guy. You don't need to talk anymore. Bring this guy and do the work. That is nomination. I strongly tell that. Named is I have three people. I named some people. You choose it, any of them, and do it. It's kind of a vendor list, 3 or 5 people. So working with other contractors mean whenever the client told you, I will tell you, I will nominate you some contractors for the particular work, you have to provide for him a temporary services. you need to provide for him the site office, okay, office. Then you need to provide for him temporary water for the work, temporary electricity for the work. Sometimes you need to give your printer to him. Sometimes you need to give your stationery to him. So those risks, okay, how you will understand, sometimes you have to provide the printer, sometimes you have to provide the stationery, that will specify under the specification. I mentioned it to you starting with 10000 section will tell you how to deal with the name contractors, how to deal with the nominated subcontractors, how to deal with the domestic contractor site office in the sense that will list you under the specification. So those risk, what the services you are providing to these contractors, you have to provide working with other contractors, the named by the client or any other contractors, that has to be priced here. That has to be priced here. That is what this preliminary item is here. Those are the temporary works, not the permanent works. Related to the named or other contractors' works, that is incorporating in the temporary works, has to be priced here. Sorry. Okay, now moving to the next item is clearly mentioned about the temporary works, which you talk about the traffic diversion, because if it is a huge site, what you have to do, you have to allocate some traffic diversion within the site, because you make a temporary road in the site construction. For example, you have a road like this in the beginning of the site or of the project. You made a temporary road. These all are temporary road, but what you do during the beginning of the project only you made it. But while the construction is going on, you feel that you have a, for example, car parking shed of this villa is coming here. Okay. So what you have to do, you cannot use this road. You have to make a pile foundation for this car park shed now. So you have to temporarily divert this road here and this road here. So something like that, you go to a very complicated site, you will experience all these scenarios. Apart from that, there is another temporary traffic diversion is there. Let's say this is your plot and you have access here to the plot. Then your trucks are coming here. Sometime you take a permission from the department RTA to come the truck and do like this. RTA will see after some time there is a huge traffic block because of this, because there is a traffic signal here and you guys coming entering here, then it is making a huge traffic block here. RTA says don't use this, please. So you have to find out the diversion. You have to find out the diversion. Sometime there is a service road here. You have to come through the service road. So you have to divert your route here. That may cost you, because this interlock here that was not able to carry your 7-ton, 8-ton truck. That sometime you need to do some asphalt paving here. So that cost you additional, no? So those kind of a risk has to be priced here. Hope you clear that or those what does it mean that preliminaries and all this temporary and dewatering, as I mentioned earlier, that what it is a dewatering. And
What is method related charges? I have a question. It will connect with this.
Method related charges, it's not according to the POMI. Method related charges is especially why they ask method related. For example, it is a complicated project. Building construction for me is mostly used for the building construction. Building construction is not complicated. Normally, people have experience, thousands years of experience in building towers or building 25-story buildings. They know what is the method has to be followed. They know what is the method to be used for the form work. They know what is the method to be used for the scaffolding. So that is what for me doesn't specify for you. You have to tell me that this method I'm going to use for the firmwork. I know that what is the method you're going to use. There are 3 methods or 4 methods in the market. You use out of these 3 or 4 one method, you'll use it. I know that your price is, because there are no costs much different between these methods. So you do whatever it is. I don't ask you, you don't price it for me. But SESAM this talks about it, because road construction is a complicated. It is geographically, it is a challenge project, and method wise, it is a challenge project. Then contractor to contractor, they have their own method. Okay, so that is what the contract is requested. The people who is pricing it, you price it for your own method. You price it for your own method. Tell me what method you are going to do it. Okay, so during the construction, I will check. You give a cost of this method. Okay, then you provide the method statement. You said you will do it in this method. Sometime he might vary that method. Maybe after few years, I mean, construction is, let's say 2-5 years experience, no? I mean, the duration. So after few years, there are different technologies introduced. Maybe the method that he intend may change in the current market. So he change another method. So that is a different story, that if a contractors change the method, there is a variation, or we can ask a variation or not. That is a different story that we will see it in the session when we are having it. But that method related charges is not comes under the preliminaries, but it is there under the general item of session 3 and 4. It is available. So then they comes here and ask to price about the sundries. Under the sundries is testing of materials. So what is testing of materials? Like you are testing concrete cubes, you are doing a slump test on the site. These all are not related to the permanent works, isn't it? These all are facilitating the permanent works, but it is a temporary. After casting a cube, then you go to the laboratory and break the cube and you throw it. That is a temporary, that's not going to be part of the project, but it is facilitating the project. And testing of the works, you are testing the works, the contractor shall provide such labor, materials, equipment, and transport as the employer may require, assisting him to carry out the test. Because the employer will tell you, Mr. Contractor, I need to test your smoke management system. I am bringing a specialist to do a smoke management test on the site. I myself and the specialist is coming. The guy who can climb on the ladder, then he can put a smoke and test the smoke management system. But I don't have a ladder myself. I will not bring a ladder from my home or from my office. And the guy who is carrying the ladder, and I cannot bring it. You have to provide for me a labor. Then you have to provide for me a, what do you call that, ladder. Then you have to provide for me a facilities to my guy during the testing and commissioning. That is what this item says that whenever I am bringing somebody, for example, here, see, provide water, fuel, and electricity necessary for the testing, the plumbing and engineering installation. For example, the guy I'm bringing to test the flashing system of WC, I need a water. Without water, I cannot test on the flashing system. I cannot test the plumbing system without a water. I cannot test the light without electricity. So these all you have to provide for me from your side. I will not bring a generator to test the light now. I will not bring a generator to test the power socket. So you have to provide me whatever is cost for you, you can price it here. I mean, I'm not telling you that I will not pay for you. I will pay, but not under the temporary, under our permanent work, light or electricity. You have to price it here. That is how this item is specified. Then removing rubbish, protective casing and covering, cleaning and all this. You know that every time to time you worked on the site, you have to clean, tidy up the site. For example, you have 1,000 villas. People go and work there and they cannot keep the site with the block here, there, and all this sand here and there, cement. No, time to time, they have to clean it. When the engineer goes to the site and tell the contractors, clean this place, immediately they have to put the guy to clean it. So the guy who is cleaning it, the guy who is building a block or building a MEP work is not the guy who's going to clean it. You should have a separate labor, set of labor, who is called it as a cleaning labor. Those people has to be priced, those people's salaries and their facilities has to be priced here. The guy who is building the block work, the guy is helping the mason to take the block and give it to him is priced under your block work unit rate. Under the labor category is pricing there. But the guy who is breaking the block and building it, the piece of block is there on the down, cleaning it is not part of that mason work. No, that is a cleaning guy that who has to be priced it here. Similarly, so many items like petroleum regulation, then the price escalation or building permits approvals and shop drawings and as-built drawings. Sometimes somebody price it under the measured works, but you know that shop drawing and as-built drawing, especially the shop drawing, it doesn't use to build. I mean, doesn't use to do a maintenance of the building. That doesn't require that. It is a temporary. Once the construction is finished, the shop drawing is no more use of it. Then they use the as-built drawing. The as-built drawing only goes to the end user. That end user will have a look on it. Then they will see, okay, where there is a plumbing pipe, where there is a electrical cables before he hold on the wall. Okay, then I just need to understand from you guys what is a as-built drawing, what is a shop drawing, what is a tender drawing, what is a contract drawing, what is a detailed drawing. I don't know. Can somebody tell me that? What does it define? What is as-built drawing? What is shop drawing? What is tender drawing? What is contract drawings? What is the working drawings? Can somebody tell me that if anybody knows about before I explain it? Anybody knows about these drawings? Anybody? Can you explain it? What is shop drawing? Anybody? Nazar, you can put a try.
Shop drawing is initial drawing.
Okay, you can more fine tune on your statements. Initial drawing mean what does it mean? That initial mean where, when?
Uh,
Yeah. Okay, let me explain you what are the drawings I know that involved in the construction project. You must know that differentiating all these stuff. As a QS, you should be crystal clear that what drawing is for what purpose. So we see two things. No? One is pre-contract and the post-contract. Okay.
in the pre-contract, we are giving the without details drawing is a shop drawing.
Okay. Let me explain you in clear. In a pre-contract, there are several stages of design phases. They are using so many drawings. One, they say pre-concept drawing. Okay. It's like concept drawing. This is pre-concept drawing. Then they have a concept drawings. This concept drawings, it will not have any details. It will have some lines. For example, they will not have a double line for the block work sometimes. They will have a single line. They will show a concept. Then they will come to a schematic drawings. Schematic drawings mean it is somehow with the detail and schedule, but it is not much in the details. Okay. Then after the schematic, they will have the detailed drawings. So this is the final. They given everything, full detail with dimension, schedules, and everything is there. So if they give it to somebody, it is ready to build. So after the detailed drawing, what they do, this is called pre-contract. So this is very important to know that you will, I mean, for me, it is big difference between pre-contract and pre. So there is a detailed drawing. After the detailed drawing, what they will do, once the detailed drawing is approved by the client, they will convert that detailed drawing into the tender drawings. Maybe they might add some details, or they might put some information, and on the title block, on the drawing, this is called title block on the drawing. No, the part on your right side is a title block. On the title block, they will tell here this is tender drawing, or they will tell here this is TD. On the drawing number, they will mention TD, so is a tender drawing. So that is here, that is the last drawing what you get to price the project. When you collect it, when you collect the tender document, that you get is the tender drawing. Okay, then there is a space here. This is the period called tendering. Okay, this is the period called tendering, and the post contract, post tendering, pre tendering together is called tendering. During this phase, based on the contractor's queries, the drawing will change. Sometimes the engineer did not put some detail to that. He will amend it on the drawings. So he will issue as an addendum. So that on the title block, they will tell it is the tender drawing, but it is from addendum 1 or addendum 2 or addendum 3. So that will happen in this period. Okay. So once it's reached to this year, the tendering is finished, the project is awarded. Okay. The project is going to be awarded. Then what they will do, all this tender collected from this tender drawings and amended from this amended period, they will prepare one drawings, final drawings, and that is the drawings that your BOQ is priced. That is called contract drawings. Okay, that contract drawing is the drawing that you priced it. Okay, then after this contract drawing, then consultant, once the project is kicked off, the contractor started working on the site, consultant will issue a drawing called IFC drawing, that is called issued for construction. Sometimes this IFC drawing is same as the contract drawing, no much changes, but they will add some more details. For example, they told you we are using T20 bars and T16 bar for this middle bar. But now they will tell you this T20 for this much meter, T20 for this much meter. They will give you more detail to you. So sometimes this IFC consists more detail, or sometimes they just take the contract drawing, they change the title from contract here to IFC, issue for construction. That's all. Nobody will change it. But my experience, very bad experience, I have it. After a contract is signed, contractor is awarded the project, then authority come and say, okay, you have to change the security room here, you have to change the kitchen size. Then what we do in between, before we issue the IFC, when we have contract drawing here, before we issue the IFC, what we did, we do whatever the changes is here. Then the contractor start the site, we give them with all these modifications. So contractors, in this case, the variation in the project is between this contract drawing and this IFC drawing. But normally, if you want to see a variations, normally if there is no changes between contract and IFC, you can do the difference between IFC on the as-built. Okay, we will come back to that, what is it is. Then after the IFC drawing, you receive, what the contractor will do, they will collect from you the PDF as well as the CAT file. They will prepare a shop drawing. They will prepare a shop drawing that is not the purpose of contractual requirement. That is the purpose of accept, or that is the purpose of get approve the method of your construction from the engineer. They will prepare a shop drawing and they will send to the engineer. They will tell the engineer, okay, you give me the thickness of this footing is 500 millimeter. Okay, they will add you that it is starting from this level and ending in this level, and they will add so many details. Some other term, they call it as a working drawings. The shop drawing, some other term, they call it as a working drawings. This is more easier people to understand. Because, you know, in the site, people who work engineer, foreman, and charge hand. So the engineer will understand all the drawings because he studied for last 4 years in the university to how to read the drawing. The foreman, he don't know. The guy who we call it as a foreman, he came based on his experience. So he see only the shop drawing. He don't see the IFC drawing. He don't see the contract drawing. He don't know how to read them. So you have to give more detail to these people, the people on the side, charge hand, and the foreman, on the labor, on the labor head or the supervisor head. You need to give him more detail. So for that, the contractor is elaborating that. That is called as a working drawings, which is workable to the people on the site, or which is workable to the people on the factory. I mean, factory mean it is workable to the people on the precast factory. If it is a precast panel, you have to give it to the people as a working drawing to understand. If it is an aluminium fabricator, you have to give a working drawing to the aluminium fabricator to understand how the system is working. So that is working drawing. In between IFC and shop drawing. Shop drawing, you prepare it and get approval from the engineer, shop drawing approval. That may be read and understand by the engineers, or maybe read and understand by the foreman, but may not be understand by the charge hand. For the charge hand, what the engineers do on the site, they do more elaboration. They do more workable understanding of the working drawings, then they give it to the charge hand. So these are the drawings that involve on the project. So once now you have a contract drawings, IFC drawing, working shop drawing, a working drawing. After all you finish the project, then you have to prepare a drawing called as built drawing. What it will tell you as built, what I built. Sorry, what I built. I'd run my drainage pipe through this line. I'd run my lighting cable through this here, because the people who is in the maintenance things or operation and maintenance part, they need to understand where is your cable and where is your drainage pipe, where is your water supply pipe. So they need to understand where it is located, so that your as-built drawing will tell you where it is coming, this cable. This 200 millimeter diameter copper cable is through this channel is going, through this trench is coming. So you have to show it to them. But your tender drawing, your shop drawing, or your IFC drawing will not tell you this light cable should come through this wall and go to this switch panel. They will not show you that. They will show you your switch location. They will show you your light location. They will not tell you that this cable is going through this way. But when you're preparing an as-built drawing, you have to tell, I run this cable for this light from this switch to through this location. Then the people who's on the maintenance, if there is a problem on this lights or switch, they will understand, okay, through this place there is a cable is going and this cable is damaged. Maybe they will pull out the cable, or they will chase the wall and they will take out the conduits and they will pull the new cables. So that is how the as-built drawing is helped to the people. So hope you understand the difference between all these drawings here. With that, we end our preliminaries. So the preliminaries, you understand that how the preliminaries is help to the project. And I hope that you will be so much confident that after having this session, if somebody come and ask you, some client come and tell you that I don't need the preliminaries, then you will very confidentially tell them that we need a preliminaries. If you are a contractor, I cannot able to price these items, temporary items on the measured items or the permanent items. I have to price it. This is the place to price it. I will price it. I mean, this is the place to price. You can be strongly argue with somebody about these issues. So hope that's clear for you this session. The next session, actually, what is my plan actually? Here you can see the BOQ. What we see, the first is the pricing preambles here. Then we see the preliminary here. Okay. Then we go to the measured items. Okay. We will go to the site work. We will not go in detail how to measure how to read the site work, how to read the concrete. We will go in fast track that out, because for me these two are very important because people are lacking their knowledge. So I need to spend more time on this 2 chapter. So I took more time here. Then we will go through very fast on other sections, and hope it will be interesting, inshallah, in future. So that's all about today. Then we will see it next week with a new measurement topics.